Alright, what's going on, guys? So today I am making a video of something that I've become really interested in, and I just kind of want to share with you and kind of get your insight in it. So going through this, basically what we're going to be talking about is the up and coming communal living that has sort of blown up in the past couple of years. So the big issue in the research that I've been doing for the past couple of weeks now is that affordable housing is a really big problem. Not just in like New York and California. Like, it's starting to make its way just to be like a general issue. And here in San Antonio, where we have housing prices which are a lot more competitive than like $2,800 a month here is luxury, and in California it's a studio. So we have it a little better off, but it's starting to make its way into this area, especially like Austin, where there's a lot of startups happening. There's a lot of growth happening in Austin. People are starting to move out of the city because it's just getting too expensive. So in this approach that I've been looking at, so I've been coming at this as if I was an investor, and how would I tackle the housing situation while also making it sort of profitable for myself. So I've been looking at it. So I had my first idea initially was like taking some sort of rundown apartment, fixing it up and making it taking advantage of the credit for the affordable housing tax credit that you get from that. So I looked into it a little bit more. There's a cap at $10,000. So if you poured a bunch of money into fixing this apartment, you're going to rent it out for $650, so it's really affordable in this area. That credit would not make up for it. So I thought it was a little bit more, maybe a percentage based on what you spend, but it's definitely not. So it's capped. So that idea got thrown out pretty quick, and so I started looking into these sort of communal situations. So I've heard of people in San Francisco, getting a house and shoving like 8 to 12 people in there, all different varieties. You have people who are 45 transitioning into maybe they're trying to start their own business, but they're keeping it really low profile. Maybe it's some 18-year-old who's killing it with his e-commerce business. There's just a lot of individuals, but who wants to stay frugal. So there's a lot of individuals that are sort of in this community, video editors, people just trying to make it as a freelance situation and maybe can't afford those insane prices in California. So like I said, essentially it's a large house, a lot of individuals are in there, everyone shares the space. You may have your own room, bed, and things like that, but as far as like it's sort of like a dorm living situation. So I was looking into that and looking at options here in San Antonio. There's not a lot, actually. It hasn't really hit here where people have been starting to, the prices here aren't so insane that people have started to go do that, or the movement hasn't made its way down here. But I have seen that outside of Austin, there are tiny house lots being sold. And if you're not familiar with a tiny house, it's really easy. It's exactly what I just said. So people take areas like this shed, and I'll show you in a little bit. They take these small platform areas and they don't cram, but they strategically place everything into this tiny house. So it's a small platform. It doesn't use a lot of utilities, doesn't need a lot of space. It's for those individuals who, really don't need so much. They only need, necessities. It's kind of online with the minimalist movement, and that's really what it's about. It's really cool. I'd consider it doing myself. So essentially, these little housing lots are coming up outside of the south side of Austin, north side San Antonio, along the I-35 area, where that area is really growing. Those zip codes are popping off right now, and they're only going to keep growing because I-35, or the commute between Austin and San Antonio, you can go either way. So so back to it. So these lots that I'm looking at, I literally just went to Craigslist because I've tried to find lots like on Zillow, Redfin, LoopNet, things like that. And, there's really people just trying to sell commercial land. So I went on Craigslist and I just looked up tiny house lots. And so south side of Austin, they're calling this one the Tiny Homestead Village. And they're saying it's about 30 minutes outside of Austin, 10 minutes to San Marcos. And essentially what it is what I said. It's a plot of land, and you're just going to rent out the space on there to tiny house dwellers. So my idea, it's not a new idea, but just what I was thinking of is if I were to do it myself, I would buy, a plot of land, a few acres, and I was going to develop maybe four little sort of situations like this. Then maybe they're not a tiny house, but they're a little bit larger, but they're sustainable. So I would want to make sure that they're there for 30 years at least. So my idea was to put four of those on there, and then you can have individuals renting there for maybe like 650, maybe 700, something competitive to those downtown prices. So what I ran into is that if I was to purchase the land, I would also have to do the development, which, I can't really give an accurate estimate. Let's just say that each house with you, let's just say that each house plus, paving a little bit and sewage and things like that maybe cost 70,000 each. So we're already up there, and I just don't think that the return for $650 a month per unit would make up for that in a reasonable amount of time. It may be good for someone looking for a smaller return, but just for me, that's probably not what I would want. So that would be on par with just renting to any normal, in any normal residential situation. So I like this idea because you're able to put a lot more individuals onto the land, and you won't really have to worry so much about, putting into the development costs. The one thing I did want to look at is, and I'll show it, these tiny housing lots. So they're advertising this one as a community for $350 a month, which is a great deal, right? You can't find any housing for $350 a month. So essentially what you would do is you get your own tiny house, bring it to there, park it on the lot. It's like an RV lot, and you would use the amenities inside of the lot that you're in. So this one right here is advertising that they have trails, they have farm yoga. I don't know what farm yoga is. Either it's in the farm or like you do cow stretches. I don't know. Farm yoga. They have a fishing pond, an on-site licensed holistic daycare. I don't know what holistic daycare is, but it sounds awesome. And they have a farmer's market. And yeah, farmer's market. So that seems pretty good. So I would think that, these individuals in these situations would have, the basic things that they need. If they needed childcare, they can, go right next door and have the childcare thing. So my questions for this would be, are they outsourcing this daycare? Are they having some local company, come in and take care of their kids? Or are they hiring are they having like someone pick for the week and just do daycare for everyone's kids? I don't know how it's working. But it's also looking like they have a designated area for restrooms. It's like a little facility for restrooms. They have a little kitchen plaza as well, so you won't have to cook in your own house, which is interesting because these tiny houses, or at least the way that I've seen them, people want to put the whole house into a small area. So they do have a kitchen, small bathroom, small shower, maybe it's even attached outside. Everything that you need is in that house. But what it's looking like out here on this dwelling is that they have all these amenities out there for you, which just goes to say that any sort of small house that you get, you probably wouldn't need to have maybe running water or a bathroom or a sink attached to it, which means you could either get rid of it and get a smaller house, or you can use that for more space for things that you have. So it's interesting. I do want to call them up and see like what kind of individual they're looking for. I would hope that they're background checking these individuals before letting them on, not just letting anybody in there to do whatever they want. But it looks like, you could really get away with having just a really small shed, essentially, just where you have to sleep and do work, maybe some electricity, but everything else is taken care of. The other place that I found is called, I don't know what this one doesn't have a name yet, but it's also on Craigslist, and it is just a location. Like I think they're advertising about 8 lots. I think they're selling it for $650 a month, and you can also rent RVs that they have for $850 a month if you don't want to get your own. There's a $400 deposit. There is background checks, which is good. I would really hope that they do. And they said all these are available August 1st. So I assume that this is the part where they're advertising. They're trying to find people who are interested in it. But yeah, that should be interesting to see. July, August? Yeah, so less than 30 days, this place should be up and running. It'd be really cool to visit it and see what it's about. Oh, and another interesting thing about this place is they have horse boarding for $150 a month. So you take care of the horse, you buy the hay, buy the feed or whatever, but you can keep your horse there. So if you are an individual who loves horses but doesn't really want to buy a bunch of land and like, I don't know, buy like a ranch house, like this could be a really good situation. You know, just bring your tiny house, do whatever horse people do with their horses all day, and come to your small house with all your amenities, and you know, right at the spot. It's 30 minutes south of Austin, 10 minutes from San Marcos. This is a really nice location, and this is the same area that I was talking about, right along I-35. All that land in between Austin and San Antonio is starting to grow. Another interesting thing that I found is that districts in Communal, I believe, which is right outside of New Braunfels, that area is growing 900 students per year. So they are adding a lot of families, and that place is growing. I think they've been adding that for about 2 or 3 years now, and I can only imagine like it's just gonna get even crazier. And there's only one school district, which is cool. I mean, that's pretty competitive. Anyway, and there's only one school district there, so that means, you know, as that starts to fill up, they're going to build more, which is going to attract more people. People's friends start moving in. Other people want to, you know, be close to family and friends. That I think that area is just going to grow really fast. So, like I said, outside of New Braunfels and San Marcos area, but I do want to start looking into maybe land in that area. I don't know if it's all taken up yet. I have zero clue what the situation is over there. I just know that this is starting to become a thing, and I think that's the way of the future. Is probably something that I would want to get into, you know, pretty soon. But yeah, I just wanted to share that this communal living thing is taking off, and I think it's kind of cool. All right, so if you have anything to say, if you have any thoughts on communal living, tiny houses, whatever, go ahead and leave a comment down below. I'd love to talk more about it. Like I said, I'm just looking into this, and I'm starting to do my research on it, so you know, I can put it to good use. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.